The 2017 release Space Explorers from designer Yuri Zhuravlev initially slipped past me. It's since been touted as a Splendor killer and has certainly now been brought to my attention. I'm a massive fan of Splendor, so I was very keen to get this to the table to see how it played. Let's take a look. Setup of the game is simple. Each player receives a research and development hub where you place your cards later. You get 5 resources, 1 of each type, and a player reference sheet, which is very useful for your first few games to understand what the icons mean on each of the cards, the main principles of the game and other abilities that the cards give you once you have them. You then deal 6 cards face up in the centre, 1 blind to each player, and leave the rest shuffled in the middle. You then take these projectiles equal to the number of players plus 2. So in this 2-player game, you will have 4 in total. The point of these is once you've achieved the goal, similar to Splendor, so in this case 3 green, 2 yellow, 2 blue, this will then come visit you as a free action. You've achieved this mission and you've got 4 points at the end of the game. The first player token is assigned randomly. This stays constant throughout the game. It doesn't change alternate rounds. On your turn, you then have the choice of 2 things. Either take a card or play a card. If you take a card, you can take face up or blind. When you play a card, you need to have the resources required to spend for that card. So in this case, 4 blue. I don't have 4 blue, I only have one of each, so I don't have the ability to play that. What I could do is discard this. Discarding a card gets you 2 free resources and then play from here, but I don't want to do that, so I'm going to take blind from here. My opponent will then have a go and then it's back to me. On my second go, I now have 2 cards, which gives me more options. So this card I've picked up is quite expensive and I've only picked it up to discard it anyway. So I'll discard this into the central reservation. You can have more than 6. You can never have less, but you can have more. So that's now gone. And ultimately what that's done is it's given me the chance to play this card because by discarding I've now gained 2 free resources. It's always the first 2 from the bottom up as indicated by this arrow, so essentially this blue and this blue are now spent. I only need 1 more blue to spend to get this card in my array. This can go into either blue or red. That's another reason why I wanted this card. For this case I'll put it into red. So that's now done just from simply spending this and discarding the card. One major difference here now is what happens to this resource. Unlike Splendor and other games where it goes into the central bank, this will actually be given to my opponent. So they now on their next turn have an extra resource to spend on their turn. They themselves, when they spend resources, give them to me. So the game progresses like that nicely with the resources moving backwards and forwards between the players. The game ends once either a player has 12 cards in their array or all 4 of these missions has been achieved. The cool thing about the game is what you get from the cards. So this card going here, the next time I place any card into red, the first 2 resources, because of these 2 icons here, means that the first 2 resources from the bottom up, remember, are spent and I don't need to do them. However, there are other cards that give you more power. So for example, this card here, once this has been played into blue, equally the first resource of any type when played in blue is paid for, but equally any card played into any one of the 5 areas, if they require a red or a yellow, that's paid for as well. So these cards have 2 powers, either for a specific resource played into any area or for any resource when played into the area that this card currently exists. So another nice difference there from Splendor, which makes the mechanics of the game very interesting. There are lots of different powers of the cards that are all explained in the cards here and on the back of the rules. So very simply to pick up and understand, but really does add some depth, quite different to other games of this ilk, such as Splendor. Okay, so I absolutely love this game. I've played quite a few times in solo mode and also in 2 and 3 player. I've not tried a 4 player yet. I'd love to give that a try, but it's absolutely wonderful. A seamless experience enjoyed by everyone who I've got it to the table with so far. Is this a Splendor killer? Absolutely not. It's a wonderful game, but I'm going to keep Splendor in my collection as well. I like both. The mechanics obviously are very similar. Space Explorers probably has a few more little intricacies in the base game, although of course Splendor has some expansions that can add some complexity if you like. However, the theme of the 2 are so different, it feels a different enough of an experience for me to justify both staying in my collection. The artwork for this really is wonderful. The cards are absolutely gorgeous. I love the way that they look. I love the way that they feel. I love how simple the icons make the rules as you play the game. It's a wonderful game. Definitely staying in my collection. Really pleased I got it. And for a couple of quid over £20, I heartily encourage you to try it out. It's available right now on Zatu. Give it a try. Space Explorers, wonderful game.